Girls, we're going to take one right from the beginning. Now, here's a warrior here, Kayleigh McEnany, right? Because who else is going to do anything to denounce violence? Sure as hell isn't going to be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. And yeah, see that? There's YouTube. See? Right off the bat, you just click on something. What do you get? An automatic freaking commercial for Joe Biden. No matter what you click on YouTube, you get an automatic Biden commercial. You can't get away from it.
Meanwhile, let's bring in Kayleigh from 2020 campaign advisor. Hey, Kayleigh, good morning to you.
Good morning, Steve.
Okay, so into the final 5 days, I know that both campaigns are spending a lot on TV. Both campaigns are out and about, although your candidate seems to be on TV all afternoon into the evening.
Yeah.
But you've got something different, and you think it is your secret weapon, and that is you've got 2.5 million door knockers going door to door, right?
That's exactly right. We actually have what's called a ground game. Democrats didn't do that this year. They haven't been knocking on doors. And look, it's paying dividends, Steve. I'm sitting here in Miami-Dade County. The president and the rest of the team were about to take off across Florida. But in Miami-Dade County, as of yesterday, we are 6 percentage points ahead of Democrats in the early vote. That is historic. That is historic turnout for Republicans. Statewide, we have won 10 days straight of early voting. We know Democrats typically have an absentee advantage, but we've been eating away at that. 2/3, in fact. We've ate away at their advantage by 2/3. And on election day, when the Trump coalition turns out, we will win the great state of Florida. We will win this election.
So Joe Biden's brother, he was confronted by a Fox News reporter at his house in Maryland, and he refused to answer questions from the reporter about Tony Bobulinski. Watch this.
In Philadelphia, what do you say to Philadelphia residents that are outraged by yet another unarmed black man being shot by police? On your healthcare plan, do you have a bill ready to drop? And what did you learn from the ACA passage that's going to guide how you work on the improvements to the ACA, particularly whether you're going to work with Republicans?
Okay, so Kayleigh, I thought we had the video of the reporter, but you know what happens. Confronted his brother outside of his house, and he said, go away, basically, I'm not going to answer your questions. But then you just saw video of Joe Biden yesterday. He took a few questions from reporters. Steve said, was it your son, Steve, that was out there? There was a reporter from Fox asking questions about Joe Biden's son, Hunter.
He wanted to ask a question, but you know how the Biden campaign works. They said the vice president would take some questions, and questions is plural, and they took 2 questions. And as soon as he answered the question about Philadelphia violence and about health care, he turned around and got out before anybody could ask him about Tony Bobulinski.
Why are they staying so silent?
Yeah, it's incredible. Look, think about this. So Joe Biden still has not denied the substance of this allegation. We have emails, we have text messages, we have a first-hand witness in Tony Bobulinski that says that Joe Biden is compromised by China. He profited off China during his time in government, profited from foreign governments on the taxpayer's dime. Good for Fox News for asking that question, because Ainsley, this is the great journalistic malpractice of our time that they refuse to ask questions. We have it verified, we have documents, and they won't ask a single question. Good for Fox News, because the rest of journalism has abdicated their duty to get the truth for the American people.
Fox News was not able to ask the question of Joe Biden because the campaign keeps him away from the press.
But Fox News did go out there to ask his brother at his house.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the president really utilized in 2016. You weren't doing this job, but utilized Facebook better than anybody else and helped him propel to victory. And no one really did more for Twitter than the president of the United States, because he used it as his main source of communication. But it hasn't stopped both those entities, perhaps, from turning on him and your campaign. And that was the subject that was brought up as the tech centers heads went to Capitol Hill yesterday, or at least offered themselves as interview subjects yesterday in front of the Commerce Committee. Listen to Ted Cruz go at Jack Dorsey, who was barely up.
Twitter had the ability to influence elections.
No, we are one part of a spectrum of communication channels that people have.
Twitter, when it silences people, when it censors people, when it blocks political speech, that has no impact on elections.
People have choice of other communication channels with which...
Not if they don't hear information. Mr. Dorsey, who the hell elected you and put you in charge of what the media are allowed to report and what the American people are allowed to hear? And why do you persist in behaving as a Democratic super PAC, silencing views to the contrary of your political beliefs?
We're not doing that. And this is why I opened this hearing with calls for more transparency.
Well, Dorsey would just calm down a little bit and answer the question. Kayleigh, what does the campaign plan on doing? You got 5 days left. All these stories have been sidelined. The president's already been frozen and blocked 65 times. Are you guys helpless?
Yeah, and Joe Biden censored 0 times, notably. No, because we're taking our message directly to the American people. We'll be making 5 rally stops a day, 5. Thousands show up. Literally, we had 25,000 people show up in Omaha. These are historic crowds. The president takes his message directly to the American people, and shame on Jack Dorsey. As the New York Post noted today, this is a mob artist. This is a shakedown effort to say, delete the Hunter Biden story. The media won't report on it. Social media will censor it, delete it, or we will censor the 4th largest newspaper in the United States. We will block them from social media. Big tech needs to be handled, and this president in a second term will do just that, because there needs to be equity. There needs to be a lack of censorship. This is what happens in North Korea, not in the United States of America.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the United States of America. Right now, we continue to see spikes in certain parts of the country regarding COVID. For the most part, the Biden campaign has made their push and pitch to America that the administration has mishandled the response to the pandemic. But when you look at these strict lockdowns that are going into effect in Europe right now, you realize it's hard for any country to get a handle on it.
Yeah, look, the American people have a very clear choice when it comes to COVID. You can vote on Joe Biden, or you will be locked down. Your schools will be closed. Your churches will be closed. You won't have social gatherings. It will be a lockdown versus President Trump, where we are safely reopening this country. Americans deserve jobs. They deserve freedom. Joe Biden's modeling his strategy, which is lockdown in the basement. But this president has surged therapeutics and testing and a vaccine in record time. We can control this, but at the same time, we can open this country and not lock down like Joe Biden will do.
So, Kayleigh, a lot of people like the president's stance on law and order. This is the president talking about how he wants to restore it, and he's hitting the Democrats for not condemning all the unrest sooner.
You can win a 2-year lease on a new Ford F-150 or a Lincoln.
Well, sorry, folks. There they go. They want to throw a 30-second ad in the middle, like always. Now that we're at the end of the story, they got to throw in another ad. But
I'm witnessing this terrible, and frankly, that the mayor or whoever it is that's allowing people to riot and loot and not stop them is also just a horrible thing. You can't let that go on. Again, a Democrat-run state, a Democrat-run city, Philadelphia. That's no way to do it. You got to have law and order. You've got to have respect for our police. You have to condemn. You have to be strong. You can't have chaos like that.
Kayleigh, it's hard to watch those videotapes of people looting mom and pop businesses, and you know that's their livelihood. That's their bread and butter.
That's right. It's their livelihood. These are small businesses, people who have worked their entire lives to open these shops, these businesses. And then on top of that, you have 30 police officers who were injured on the first night of the riots, one run over by a car, a chance to stuff police officers in trunks, a vehicle with explosive devices. Let me be crystal clear why this is happening. It's because Democrats have enabled the mob. When they attack our police officers verbally, it ends up that they end up being attacked physically. It's called what Jim Comey said, the Ferguson effect, and we're seeing it play out yet again.
Kayleigh, what is the message as we go back to the coronavirus? Remember for the longest time, Angela Merkel, the Germans did it right. They know how to do it. Why can't we be like them? They are now locking down for a month. The French, they did it right. They had a great summer because they were disciplined. The French are locking down now, and they've already been locked down in 9 separate cities. The Italians, sadly, were the first to be besieged, and they're locking down and protesting every step of the way. The UK regionally locking down, Belgium and Czech Republic. So as we have 70 new infections a day and 29 states have hit highs, is the president's approach herd immunity?
No, the president's approach is therapeutics, which, by the way, have given us the lowest case fatality rate in the world, far lower than Europe's. Right now, when you look across the hospitals in the United States, the percentage of COVID patients in hospital beds is 6%. It's because this president did things right. You have a 99% survival rate under 70 and above 70 because of our therapeutics. It's very close to that because of what this president did, tearing down bureaucratic barriers, tearing down regulations, paving the way for therapeutics. We have done this right, and the Europe-United States comparison tells that story.
All right, Kayleigh McEnany, 6 days away from being able to sleep in. Kayleigh, thank you very much for joining.
Okay, folks, so there you seen it again, right? And you want to vote for Joe Biden, right? Huh? And let us remember, because everybody's so freaking scared to say something that they're going to be construed as racial. But I'm a lone person, so I don't care, okay? Remember, we know what happened in Philadelphia. They're tearing everything up and rioting and going after the police. Remember two things. It's not just that it's a Democrat city and a Democrat state. It's a black chief of police again. A black mayor again. Do your homework. 99% of these freaking police brutality incidents that lead to riots have the chief of police is black and the mayor is black, and the mayor is Democrat. You just can't make this shit up. Hey, I'm disgusted and I'm out.